To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone. Becky, is there anyone on Zoom? Okay, no one's on Zoom. We'll first start off with the public comment. There is none registered. Is there any public comment this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. We have a nuisance update next on the agenda.
Thank you. I don't know if we have a whole lot going to discuss tonight that's any different than what we were at a couple weeks ago, other than I think the 17 First Street Northeast property is scheduled to be burned tonight. I think the fire department was going to try to do that, but we'll see with the wind and everything what they have going on. I don't know if they have to go to their rescheduled date or anything due to that. I haven't had any word from them or anything, but that is great. That is an example of where the neighbor ended up taking ownership of the property, worked with the fire department to do a training fire there, and it's getting rid of one heck of an eyesore up on First Street Northeast in that 700 block. I've also had some discussions with a potential new owner at 140th and Highway 65 where the house had caught fire here a couple months ago. I haven't had any updates on that, so I don't know if they've closed on that or if they've obtained it or not at this point. But I do anticipate hearing something fairly soon. I know I had issued a notice to the property owners about 30 days after it happened and started that process. And then I had also contacted their insurance company to do our withholdings of the claim on that per state law. We got a number of different things coming up in July. A lot of things were prolonged here in June with the switchover with the new magistrate. So a lot of the court dates that were scheduled in June are going to take place in July. So, but other than that, the chief and I we were up at Lantern Park Apartments this morning. There are some issues going on up there again with some potential squatters and things of that nature. So we're working on that. We're hoping to, hear an update at some point from the property owner to see where they're at on the potential sale of that property. Other than that, I think I'd entertain any questions or concerns you guys might have.
Any questions?
Is there any other houses up slated for fire burn?
None that I'm aware of right now, but I think there's a couple that they would like to, but as far as anything scheduled that I'm aware of, I'm not aware of any.
Thank you.
Pat?
Not really a nuisance issue, but a citizen want to know when the road next to the bike trail is going to be fixed. It's got a lot of potholes in it. And
The one next to the bike trail.
I think it's the one that usually,
By the,
That gravel one,
Yeah.
right. I was hoping to, I did have a meeting with Denko on that, and I'd like to get another layer of chip seal into that, but we can get some temporary repairs in it.
okay, great.
any other questions for Doug? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief?
Yeah, just to add to that, we had 8 new nuisances written last week, and then 4 citations were written. There is quite a backlog in the court system with all the citations. That's why I haven't been bringing to you cleanups. Normally we'd have 2 or 3 cleanups. By now we'd have probably 4, but they're getting behind. But we're hoping to get restarted in July and probably start cleaning up again in August. So that's all I really have, other than we went up to the Lantern Park Apartments, and unless there's questions.
What's our ordinance say for vehicles?
Vehicles have to be registered, moved every 30 days, and operational.
I drive around town and we have this blight issue. There's a person in the northwest part of town that's got 8 cars. There's neighborhoods, my neighborhood, there's 4 or 5 boats, campers, half of them are sitting in the street, and we want to work on the blight. I think we need to stiffen our vehicle and trailer policy ordinance because we're not getting any headway. Just certain pockets of town still look like dumps. Thank you.
Pat?
Have you had any issues with fireworks complaints?
I have not seen any fireworks complaints yet. I didn't actually read today whether there was any on Sunday night, but there wasn't any on Saturday.
So if somebody complains and they send an officer out, there's 5 guys in the yard drinking Busch Light, and you know that's the house they shot them at, and the 5 guys
All
look
they
at
have to
each.
do is point the fingers at each other, and
Yeah.
then it's hard to do
Yeah.
anything with.
Is there a way to charge the homeowner?
I could look into that.
Yeah, I suggest that one other time, and I had a former councilman come unglued on me on that, and,
Yeah, I'd be all right with that. We can look and see what other communities are
yeah,
doing.
because, like you said, you got 5 guys sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
just think it's a joke, and maybe you've got somebody down the street that doesn't think it's a joke, and, it hasn't been bad this year, but we're 2 weeks away, but,
Right. It'll be a problem on the 4th.
yeah, and what I'm curious about is, and it's not their job at the fireworks sales place, is I doubt they have I doubt they have a policy out there, a sign that says Hampton doesn't allow this.
I do believe they do. I
Wow.
was in communication with them a week ago,
Mm-hmm.
and so they have been trying to put out that communication, but, some of the people buying it don't care.
Right, and they're there to sell fireworks.
Right.
And then you can buy them in Mason City and bring them down here and shoot them off,
Right.
so, yeah, okay.
Oh, they have been trying to work with us.
Okay, well, that's good.
I've got a point to add to Pat's idea. You want to charge the homeowner, so if someone blows grass in the street, why can't we charge the homeowner for that? It's no different than having an unshoveled sidewalk. Homeowner gets charged for that.
Yeah, I think we probably could.
That'd take care of a few things, I think.
It's like, it's hard to catch somebody
Right,
after it's done.
yeah. We all know Kevin's shooting them off,
Yeah,
but,
they don't bother my dogs, but I know a lot of people have dogs, and you
Yeah.
probably see a spike of them around this time of year.
Most of the
They have to be
complaints-
medicated. I mean, it's just
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those. I've got a friend of mine, they've got dogs, and around a week before, that dog is scared to go outside. I mean, it's a big dog, but it just shakes.
Most of our complaints do come from dog owners, so.
Yeah.
But Mark, I have a follow-up question, and, to what we're talking about for the fireworks, would it be difficult, you go over to a place that, like, you got a complaint, but you didn't actually see it, they weren't firing it off? I mean, would that be difficult to,
If we
like,
went there
charge
and
them
we-
with something maybe without evidence? It would just be like
If we see
hearsay or
them, it's a
whatever?
no-brainer. If somebody else sees them and we investigate that and they saw them, we would take them to court with us, and
Okay.
they could still be charged. It'd be
Okay, I
like
was
an
just
assault
curious
we don't
how
see.
that would play out.
We don't see
court.
probably 90% of the crimes we charge out, other than
Right.
traffic violations.
And
so.
that's, makes perfect sense.
You probably see the aftermath where the concrete's black, or there's
Right.
something they're using to shoot out of it that's darkened, or part of the fragments of the fireworks still in the yard or on the driveway, so.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Jason Petersburg from B&K presenting. Would you approach the podium, please, sir?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Couple items for your council meeting this next week. First, there'll be a public hearing on the plans and specs for the water main project. Plan specs, form a contract and estimate of costs, and then second will be a resolution making award a construction contract. I handed out before the meeting a summary of our bid tabulation. So we did receive bids last Friday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Only two bids were received on this. Recently, we have been experiencing or seeing more bids on projects. I did talk to several of the contractors, and the reduction in the number of bids is primarily because most of this project is directional drilling work. A lot of the directional drill contractors are busy doing telecom work, and they just want a directional drill. They don't want to do the other ancillary work that goes with the water main, the tie-ins, the services. The excavation contractors that don't own directional drills are not really interested in this type of work. So I know I'd mentioned previously we're seeing more bidders, better bidders, but I also did anticipate it would be a smaller pool of bidders for this project.
Jason,
Yes.
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
So, part of the reason for us choosing to do directional drilling is because of all the fiber optics and other buried on each side of that street.
Two
So-
reasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Less pavement restoration, which would be much more expensive than this directional drilling. And second is just the number of utilities, the narrow right-of-way. Both sides of these streets are full of fiber optic cables. So we can't go behind the curb because they're full of cables already. So then we have to put the water main under the street. The existing water main is under the street already. We're fortunate here, there isn't sanitary sewer running down the street that we have to worry about conflicts with the sewer service. So that gives us the opportunity to do the directional drilling. Before design, Doug and I had actually talked about other options as well. They've got pipe bursting as an option, but that's been more expensive than directional drilling, which is why we went with the directional drilling, a new water main and a new alignment, rather than pulling a pipe inside a pipe and making it larger, essentially, is one of the other options. So attached to the letter, I had a map, just as a reminder of the project scope. I'm not gonna go through that. The page after that is our bid tabulation, the summary of bids, and then there's an itemization, the several pages after that. I'm not planning to read through that. Like I said, 2 bids were received. The apparent low bid, or the low bidder, was Brian Nettleton Excavating out of Joyce, Iowa. He was, base bid was $438,927.50, which is about 16% over the engineer's opinion of cost, which was $377,540. The other bid received was from On Track Construction out of Nevada, and they were at $545,941.50. So there is a very substantial difference between those 2 bids that were received. Then we had several alternates on this project. Alternate 1 was to increase the water main along 12th Avenue Northeast from an 8-inch diameter to a 12-inch diameter. I discussed this with city staff early on, the potential increase in fire flows by going to the larger water main, especially with the school being in that area for the fire suppression system. But after receiving the bids, it was $72,000 more to increase that from an 8-inch to a 12-inch. Now we've explored that option. We agreed that rather than pursuing a 12-inch water main along 12th Avenue, we'll stay with the 8-inch. And there's other options for future projects that could be done to increase the fire flows in the northwest part of the community, and would actually also create a loop in that area, which would increase the reliability by providing redundant feeds for some of that. Alternate 2 through 5 were the water main valves at various intersections along Highway 3. All of those alternates were quite a bit over the engineer's opinion of cost. The risk associated with digging in Highway 3, the DOT involvement, the thickness of the patches that are required, et cetera. All of those items caused those bids or those alternates to come in quite a bit over the estimate as well. So alternate 6 was the 1 block of water main on 5th Street Southwest to replace a 2-inch water line. It does have a history of breaks. This wasn't originally part of the project, but we added it right at the end there of design. We did discuss Friday and agreed that base bid and alternate 6 would be should be the recommended basis of award on this project. It makes sense. We've got a directional drill contractor here that's willing to do the water main side street connections. The valves on the highway could be addressed at a later date. So, looking at the overall budget for the project, it's understood you had about $600,000 for this project, including the engineering. Adding up the engineering design, estimated construction, engineering, and then the construction cost itself, we're at about $560,000, so underneath the budgeted amount. Awarding, which is our recommendation to award base bid plus alternate 6, fits within the city's budget. Getting as much of the directional drilling work as we can get done at this time. So with that, I can go through more detail if you'd like, the bid tab. There's a lot of numbers there, a lot of alternates, or I'll entertain any questions.
Is 7th Avenue Northeast, that's in on the base bid?
Yeah, the 6th Street
Sixth
Northeast
Street Northeast is part of the base bid,
Okay.
correct?
is to serve development.
All right, as long, that's in with 12th Avenue
Correct.
and the boring on 6th or 5th Street Southwest.
5th Street Southwest is alternate 6, yep.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Ron, did you have anything else?
No, other than that map is, you know, a good visual of what the base is. Base bid is 12th Avenue and 6th Street Northeast for water main, and then alternate 6 is down on the east side of the law enforcement center. That's where that is, so. That's all.
Okay. Well, seeing none, thank you
Thank you.
very much.
And I guess I would add,
Go ahead.
so this is, are we thinking this Thursday, the 27th, for awarding the contract, or are you thinking?
Yes, this Thursday, the 27th.
Awarding the contract, yep,
Public hearing on the plans and spec,
yep.
resolution adopting plans, and then awarding the contract.
Yeah, so that's this Thursday, and he's unable to be here, so any questions, let's ask him now. Okay, all right, thank you.
Be joined by phone if need be, so.
I think we'll be all right.
All right,
Good.
thanks,
Thank you.
Jason.
So I'm assuming then the consensus would be, we'll go with the suggested,
Yep, the
Two.
base bid
Yeah.
and alternate
Yep.
6.
just wanted to make sure we
Yeah.
had that
I
clarified.
can only imagine the amount of fiber and all that other stuff around the high school. I mean, that would be
Yeah.
very tough.
Very good. Okay, again, thank you, Jason. Next item on the agenda, discuss the part-time wage for temporary part-time seasonal water department position, collecting water infrastructure data for the GIS mapping project. And I would turn that over to Ron.
Yeah, so basically, as you recall, we increased the wage for part-time seasonal workers, and that typically includes mowers and string trimmers in parks and cemetery for the summer. We have a need to have another part-time, I don't know if I call it seasonal because it's temporary, but Terry Ham, an old water department employee, is willing to help collect data on locating valves and shut-offs and water main information, then for Mark Crawford's company to follow up and do, enter that into the new GIS mapping project. So, basically, I need the council to agree on a wage for him, and I would suggest we just have it the same as what the part-time seasonal is. So, what we did for them in April of 2024 was the first year, $14. If they came back for a second year, it got bumped up to 15. If they came back for the third year, it was $13.50. Terry did some work last year. That was, so this would technically be his second year. He doesn't put in near as many hours as the seasonal mowers and string trimmers, a lot less. But probably to be fair, I would recommend we just have that position on the same type of level as the part-time seasonals, but it's open for discussion.
So his wage would be what?
Well, we would categorize him as the year 2 of a part-time seasonal, which would be 15.
Yeah.
We had him painting fire hydrants last summer.
How many hours is it gonna take to do that?
Well, they have roughly half the town done, Doug.
Yeah, for that part.
That part.
Also utilize him to assist with when we go and switch over to sanitary.
Yeah. So about half done collecting data for water.
I'm assuming he's pretty familiar with everything too, so
Yeah.
there's really no learning curve as
Yeah.
such.
Right, you don't have to train
So-
that.
Yeah, it's efficient. The information we're getting out of him is versus the time we're spending, we're paying him, so.
Yep.
So, we just have to be approved by the council, so discuss tonight, tell me what you want on the agenda for Thursday, and that's what it'll be on the
Well,
agenda.
I think the 2-year, we're, you know, being
The same scale as the others.
Yeah,
It's
I
consistent.
think
It's
that's fair enough.
consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have,
Yeah, that's good.
I think you know what we want,
All
so.
right. That'll
Okay.
be on for Thursday.
Great, thank you very much. Hey, next item is discuss the Image of Pride program.
Yeah,
Do you want to take this?
so, well, I was visiting with Jerry, and she has some input she wants to offer, and we'll get some discussion going on the Image of Pride program. You each have a copy of the brochure. I handed out a copy of prior recipients. It's a spreadsheet list of people who received it in the past. And Jerry?
Well, I just know different people have contacted me, contacted the paper about Image of Pride, and that has been referred to me from the paper. I have encouraged citizens to stop in, pick up a brochure, and nominate people for Image of Pride, but I'm surprised that we don't honor those nominations per se. I know we've had, 3 in the past month or so, and they're unacknowledged. And I just think citizens should be able to nominate Image of Pride, and we should honor those nominations. I don't think necessarily it has to be restricted to city council nominating that Image of Pride. I would like to see citizens step up, nominate their neighbors, us take that in consideration, and do it more than once a month.
Well, if we're brainstorming, I just had a thought. About 100 years ago, when I was in high school, they used to have a Boy and Girl of the Month program. They'd start out every month, and it'd be one boy, one girl. Then the last month, they would nominate sort of a catch-all to others that maybe qualified but weren't nominated. So the last month, it might be, you might have 5 or 6. So that might be one option, would be if, continue like we've done as council, and then that last month, take a look at who's left, or who, like those nominations, and then maybe award that last month to make sure that all of those that are nominated, assuming they are worthy of it, would receive it. Again, that's just one idea to throw out,
I would also like to see it year-round. Why do we just do it 6 months and then stop?
right?
Some people do a great job keeping their sidewalks clean or their driveways clean. Some people do a fantastic job at putting up Christmas decorations, and I think it should be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, that's fine. What are we offering? I know at one time we had some little prizes or,
It's based on donations, and lately haven't had any. You mean like chamber bucks or
Right,
things
right,
like
right.
that? Yeah, so it's kind of
But
up
they
and
do
down.
receive, they do have like the sign.
Yeah, we
That's
put a
put in
sign in
their
the lawn,
yard.
yep, and the certificate, photo in the paper.
yeah, the last one I did last October, I think I had 3 or 4 people reach out on Facebook to me, and hey, I was gonna pick them anyway. And then 3 or 4 people said, hey, Mike and Nadine need that. And I said, yeah, they do. So anyway,
Yeah, and.
I don't know if they filled out a form though.
That's what we find, is they don't fill out the form. They'll either stop in, when they're paying their water bill, they'll mention, hey, this property is a good one, so we try to, keep that in our head, and so.
I think too, with us dealing with nuisance properties, it might give a little boost to people, saying, yeah, our neighbor just did a really great job cleaning up their yard. Let's nominate them. Let's do before and afters and stuff like that.
And the chamber doesn't, I don't think the chamber does the Christmas light decoration things anymore, so that'd be another good thing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it go year round.
Other ideas, other thoughts?
How's in the wintertime, moving the sign might be.
Yeah, that might be an issue, because it's like a real estate sign, and to get it in the ground, I don't know
stick it in a snowbank.
if the snow's deep enough, it might work.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to have another sign or have it where you put it in between center blocks or something. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know even though that the sign is that big of a deal. I think it's huge for people to get that certificate and get their picture in the paper. They're really excited about that. It's a feel-good, good thing for them.
yeah, 'cause from November to probably April, you probably wouldn't be able to get it in the ground.
Who were the council members on when this was set up?
I think Craig Eckhart was,
Craig Eckhart, pretty much, this was his brainchild. He suggested that, so I'm not sure of the year. I have to look that up.
Well, I'm just wondering what the original intent was. We have rental properties on here and businesses. My thought was it was just for homes.
Well, I think it was, the original intent, and I don't know if the brochure is clear enough, but the original intent was for homes and for, more particularly, homes that have been brought from maybe a nuisance stage or not quite a nuisance to one that's really a nice property and makes the neighborhood look good. But yeah, it's, we haven't said no businesses, but the original intent was for residential.
yeah, I remember, in 2019 when I first got on, it's like my second meeting, here the image of pride. And it's like the only thing I can think of where there was such a dramatic change was Seven Stars. He'd just gotten some grants and he'd really fixed the place up. And so, anyway, kind of as just a last minute thing, I nominated Seven Stars, so.
I personally would like to see it residences.
I would too, but this was just,
Yeah, I understand,
Right.
but just to instill that community pride in our citizens.
The brochure mentions that the expense of improvements or maintenance will not be a criteria for these awards, because we don't want to get into a situation where people are having to
Yeah.
spend money to try, they don't have money, but they, mow their lawn and water the flowers and keep it painted, it looks good, and,
So how do we want to proceed then? Do we want to, like, couple council put together something more specific and bring it back to a meeting?
Do you want to change the brochure and state that it's for residential properties only?
yeah, that would be,
I don't.
I don't want to differentiate between rental properties and residential. I mean, if somebody's done a nice job on fixing up their rental property, whether it's the tenant or the landlord, I don't want to punish either one of those people. But I would also move to do it year-round. Sometimes, mid-February can get pretty bleak and everybody's kind of down in the mouth in the middle of winter, and that might, boost somebody's confidence or, boost the morale of the town if in the middle of February we give an award.
I don't see anything wrong with having businesses, though.
Anything else for tonight?
I would like to see some sort of $25 chamber buck or something thrown on. I mean, I know it's people that donate, but that'd be nice just as a little added something.
Well, Ron, didn't we have a nuisance property on the southeast side that just got painted and she finally sprung for trim paint, and it was a hardship on her to do that and to recognize those type of properties. I just think it'd be great to. But yet, I don't know about it. I think if neighbors nominate each other, citizens nominate each other, I just think we should honor that. People come to me and they're excited about this property they've been to, and they, oh my gosh, this has got to be an image of pride. And, you encourage them to nominate them, and then we don't do anything for them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And even city staff nominating, I mean, if there's something like from the nuisance that's really done a turnaround and making sure, yes, you give reports, but then maybe making sure that we recognize that too, pretty much what you were saying.
Right.
We've always tried to keep a list, and we invite the council to ask us for names on the list anytime. We would love for that to happen, but oftentimes they just sit there and don't get added, so. And we need to do a better job of sending them out to you to make you all aware.
Yeah, because I got an email the other day of all these people and the pictures of that. Well, I never saw this before. So, yeah.
So like when we got Becky's email last week, or the week before, you had 3 for our consideration. We should have taken that up and said, hey, we got 3 properties here. You guys want to pick one and let's honor them? Outside of my turn to honor them and outside of your turn and your turn and your turn.
So why don't we've got 6 councilmen that we do for 6 months of the year, have 3 on the other 3 months that's through the citizens of the community, and then the other 3 will be city staff that notice the improvements. So that way everybody's got, their input, and they're out there looking. And
Yeah, and if we fail to get anybody, if we don't hear anything from citizens, if staff has any, or other people, we'll just forward what we hear and.
So Ron, you gonna put something together?
Well, I think we can, if the consensus is you want to go to 12 months, we can tweak the brochure or draft a separate one and
I don't see, yeah.
let you look
sure.
at it.
yeah, I think we could just keep the 6 for us, for the council, and then just add the 3 for the citizens, and then 3 for city staff. And
Back there again.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll, I don't mean to kick the can down the road, but we'll tweak this brochure and. Okay,
Okay,
all right, thanks.
okay. If there's nothing else, let's move on then to discussing the FCDA director attending the Iowa League of Cities Conference in September.
Patrick?
This was kind of my deal. The last several conferences we've been to, I just think that there's just a certain discussion that happens that's above our pay grade that we have no idea how to make happen. We have no idea what tools are available, and we have no idea what goes into it. When they say, well, our economic development director did that, and a big case in point was a couple years ago. Can't remember if it was last year or the year before. They had a big apartment complex built on an old concrete plant. And yeah, it was down by Iowa City, and of course there's all the movers and shakers down there. But I would have liked to have had our FCDA director in the room to at least hear what other communities like this are doing, and what their and what other economic development committees are doing as well. I know Ron's on the committee. I just think, I don't know how we would, compensate the person for going, or get them a room, or pay their day, or whatever, how it would work out. But like this year, I looked at the agenda for Thursday, September 19th. This goes Wednesday through Friday. I didn't see anything on Wednesday's schedule or Friday's schedule, so this would be a one-day deal. One's called Housing Funding, the Unsolved Dilemma. And I know that Mary's been pretty big on working with the council and working with others about our housing problem. There's another program called Grant Funding 101, Finding, Pursuing, Writing, and Administering Grants. And I'm thinking that, not everything has to fall on Ron's shoulders on this. He's, busy redoing the Image of Pride brochure. But anyway, again, this is something that I think affects the whole scheme of Franklin County. And then the last one was strategies to phase infrastructure expansion, I think maybe that, it benefits FCDA for us to have good infrastructure too, whether it's roads or whether it's, high-speed internet or whether it's whatever. And so I just would like to see us explore a little bit about how we get our development director down to, this is over in Sioux City this year, how to get her there and absorb some of the stuff so it just doesn't all go over my head and everybody's head.
Ron, I have a question. Do they tape these presentations that then are on their website that could be viewed later?
I don't think they do, I don't think
I
they do
wasn't
that.
sure. I didn't think they did either, but I
No.
was going to
No.
ask.
And I've visited with Mary a couple of times about this, and I think she's available to go
Yeah.
that Thursday, and so she's willing to go. And
Right.
I think the FCDA board would probably pay for the registration, so I don't think it's an issue.
How much are we paying? How much do we contribute to FCDA every year?
45,000,
I think they could cough up the money,
yeah.
but I sit here and I think how sad I am. We're so stagnant here. I don't know what we can do to,
Yeah, I just want to see one more tool in the toolbox.
yeah. We need to,
And it's not so much she sits in a class for 45 minutes and stares at PowerPoint. It's that maybe she meets with other development directors around the state. Or she meets with, whoever did this project with the hotel and the concrete plant. After the meeting, maybe she could get with them and say, hey, I'd like more information, let's exchange cards or whatever, and get the ball rolling on something. Even if it's just one time, I just would like to see that.
Other thoughts, comments? So do we have a direction?
Well, she's willing to go, and
Yeah.
we'll just have her board approve it, because she goes to numerous conferences throughout the year, and I don't think they're gonna have an issue with it, so
Okay.
it's one day, so.
Good.
Okay.
I
very
really
good.
just want to see it as an experiment, if nothing else, to see if anything can be brought back from that.
Very good. Good, thank you. Okay, we'll move on then. The last item is Planning and Zoning Commission vacancy.
Who is on that committee right now?
Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yeah.
Carol Lee, Phil Pott, Chad Murray, Don Warnicki, Jesse Mullenbeck, who's getting off. There's one more, isn't there? Yeah, if you could. So Jesse is, him and his wife are moving outside city limits, and so he's let us know that he can no longer serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we have an opening. We've got applications back there.
Brandon Morton was the other one.
Brandon Morton, yeah, there you go.
Who?
Brandon Morton. So we have applications on there, and we have them on our website, and we'll start publicizing that we'll take applications for anybody interested. And I think how we did it when Carol Lee was appointed, we took applications, we had 2 of them, and then during a council meeting, the council reviews the applicants and makes an appointment. I don't think we do an interview process like we did a more formal one with the council, I don't believe, but it's up to you if you want to.
I would like to see Beverly DeVries fill out that application. She attends every meeting.
Yeah, we encourage Beverly or anybody that wants to.
Yeah.
Need people to step up. So,
Okay.
just alerting you of the upcoming vacancy, and
Is there a timetable, like is he going to be moving right away, or would it be,
what did he say, Doug?
It was gonna be August 1st, but I think it's been up because then he contacted you about the resignation, I think, after he spoke with me about it.
Yeah, I told him I needed it in writing. I can't remember what he said. I don't know when they're moving, but, okay. So I would imagine we'll take applications for
just right away?
at least a
I mean,
couple weeks, and we'll start now, and we'll let Jennifer know so she can get something in the paper and the radio, so.
Okay, sounds good. Well, seeing there's no other business, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Did a good job.
Thank goodness we have Ron Dunt and Becky